Hello, guys. Welcome back to a special edition of NBA Reels. This isn't like a regular podcast episode or anything. This is just a chat between the two of us. We're just gonna be talking about like random topics off the top of our head. I mean, we kind of decided what we're gonna talk about, but like it's going to be a more of a insight into how we have conversations before we settle on episodes, and so we hope it'll be more informal and more enjoyable for you guys as well. So yeah, let's get started. So I think the biggest thing that I really wanted to talk about today, I guess, is um, how the NBA product has evolved and how people have been saying it's been getting worse over the last couple of years. So what do you think is like the biggest thing? Like straight up, like do you think like the games that we're watching have gotten worse in some way?
I feel like nothing has gotten worse in terms of the game, but the whole spectacle of the dunks being ferocious and the physicality of the game, for one, has drastically changed over the last 5 years. Even though, although the change started way before, I would say in the last 5 years it's been very, very visible. And another reason being, even in the late 2010s, there was a rivalry, Cavs Warriors. um, Westbrook, KD. I don't think there's any active rivalry in the league right now except for maybe the Celtics and Heat.
Bro,
And
you forgot one major rivalry, or should I call Lebron to esque team matchup. It's called Nico La. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I wouldn't really call that a rivalry because
Mm.
the Nuggets have been playing extremely well against the Lakers, so I wouldn't really call that rivalry per se. So, as I said, it has to be entertaining for it to be called a rivalry. It has to be back and forth between multiple teams, players. I
But do
don't
you
think.
think, bro? My simple question is like, what defines a rivalry? I do think that Golden State versus the Rockets was a rivalry. Celtics versus Bucks was a rivalry. Are you telling me that that's not as entertaining as LeBron was the Warriors? Because even LeBron was the Warriors was pretty one-sided, right? If you look only at the results, see, we have watched
If
the
I
games.
look
We
at the
know how close they
results,
were. Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. 2015, the Warriors won. 2016, the Cavs won. 2017, the Warriors won. 2018, the Cavs almost won game one. And from there, it was a blowout, yes. But it's just about how the play style is between the two teams. Was it a blowout right from the beginning? Were there no close games? No, that wasn't the case. So, what I mean by rivalry or back and forth is actual competition, an
Yeah.
actual
I mean,
level of competition between the two teams is what I mean.
no, yeah. Then I'd
In
actually argue that Bucks Celtics was a better rivalry than Cavs Warriors for
Okay, the
sure.
last time the Bucks and Celtics faced each other in the playoffs was in 22, and yeah, it was a seven-game
Yeah.
series, and the Celtics took Game
I
Seven.
think Chris Middleton was not there, right? That was the wait,
Yeah,
that was the last time they
yeah,
faced off? Okay, that's insane. I thought
yeah.
okay. See, but they did face each other in 22. They faced each other in 21. No, they didn't face each other in 21.
They didn't face each other in 21. They faced each other in 2019 and then 22. Yeah.
Okay. There's not enough appearances. Okay, I get that.
So I wouldn't call that exactly a rivalry. And see, even the 2022 season viewership was really good, mainly because the Warriors were good. Steph, he's a big player and that's a big name. So ultimately, I think the product has declined because the NBA does not have a set future star, a future face of the league, if you know what I mean. Because it's been Steph, KD, and LeBron for the past 20 years. 20 years.
Yeah.
It was LeBron primarily, and then it was the three of them. So due to the lack of their successes in the past couple of years, 23 and 24 especially, I feel like has caused a huge decline in the viewership itself. And that is a main target for Adam Silver as the commissioner to find a new face of the league. And his attempts include getting an in-season tournament and getting new All-Star game formats. And I recently heard that they were planning to get a Champions League format for the NBA
over the
to
EuroLeague and
play. Yeah. So see, you can't really keep making things up because that'll just add to the complexities and lead to more people not wanting to follow those extras. There are people who just like the NBA for what it is, and you need to make sure that you have those viewers with you at all times.
yeah,
For example, try to bring back competitiveness in the All Star game instead of just changing the format. Changing the format's not going to make them play harder. Maybe the first game, yes. Because if you remember in the 2018 All Star game when it stopped being East versus West and when it was Team LeBron and Team Steph for the first time, it was very competitive. It was about forming your own team and winning. Although that was the
even
case this year too, it wasn't competitive at all.
yeah, even the first Kobe tribute All Star game, right? When you had to score 24 in the fourth quarter to win,
Yeah,
that game was pretty competitive. I remember Harden had that
yeah,
game winner over Lowry, but then it was a push off, and then I
yeah,
think AD hit two free throws to win. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, the problem is you're right. The other biggest factor is that if you notice when in these All Star games, right? Like it's all these I don't know, Jason Tatum taking 15 threes, 20 threes, then Dame 20 threes. It's just become like one 3 point exhibition, which, see, I think the NBA has evolved to that point, right? Like you're saying a star is somebody who elevates the game of himself and others to a new level and has to be that liked by the audience to justify them watching. But like you said, if all the superstars nowadays are going to do is just chuck threes and literally play no defense, it's not good for the game. But there are some teams which actually play really good basketball, and like you said, the people who criticize the NBA today are not watching those teams. They're sitting and watching the Lakers. They're sitting and watching the Suns. They're sitting and watching. They're trying to keep the old era alive as much as possible, and it's just not good because recently the Kings versus Nuggets game was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. And other than maybe Nuggets fans and Kings fans, I don't see anybody who's like really watching this game. So
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
real
sad.
viewers appreciate how good the Nuggets are as a team, and will definitely tune in. But you can't expect that out of all the fans, and that's where viewership comes into play. If you want fans to tune into games, the Nuggets games at all times, that's not going to be possible because their play style is not just like getting physical like Shaq or shooting threes from half court like Steph. It They're a really cohesive team. They have a very good coaching staff, and it's just about loving basketball. Not it's
Are you
it's
talking about
not
the
for the
Kings
average
or the
viewer.
Nuggets?
No,
Because
I'm
I think
talking
the
about
Kings
the
are
Nuggets.
also the same, just as you said. Well coached team, really good
Yeah.
fundamentals. Just not having that fit yet, with DeRozan and
Mm.
everything. So I'm just waiting to see. This game was very good because they were I think 21-9 down. They were like down really big early in that game,
Yeah.
and then they came back. They had a 10 point lead with um, 3 minutes to go, and then they gave it up due to a lot of stupid mistakes and like bad luck. Yeah, it's a
Missed
really good
shots.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really really good game. But again, like I don't know if you can call this game bad product because it's everything the NBA wants each game to be. Like stars going at it, clutch shots, missed game winners, hit game winners. Like it's just really good. So I think NBA is good. It just has to switch its marketing, like you said. They have to figure out who they have to market now. Who do you think is the next face? Like I think we've discussed this before, but it hasn't been Giannis, it hasn't been Jokic. It's still Steph and LeBron. Not even KD because yeah, KD is like a little further down.
The Warriors started the season strong, and
Yeah.
it seemed like the Warriors were going back to being title contenders, but they've been not so great over the past few games, and that's gotten them back down the standings. So I would guess the viewership was good when they were good, and I was back down when they're mid.
No, no, no. It was
So
down, but yeah, it's kind of decent for like. like you said, like Warriors games and everything. I think it's like a little higher than the rest. That's why the NBA is trying to market those as prime time games. But then for like really good games like OKC versus the I don't know, like OKC plays the Rockets or something like that. They don't really, nobody cares. Like the NBA Cup, right? Like after the Rockets ended up beating the Warriors, um, that's a really really good game, by the way. Um, they all said Rockets versus OKC is a bad match, and the ticket prices also fell down. So, do they not want to watch the best defense go against like a top five defense? Like this is just stupid to me. Like that people don't want to watch good basketball. Maybe they're just there to like um, appreciate the box score, appreciate like a few dunks, and then they just leave. So I don't know. I don't know. The NBA should cater to
Let,
like more old head mentality or like please the new guys with like more stuff that they want.
let me give you a very simple example. So when the Lakers started 3-0, I was watching all their games. I was glued. But I've just been fed up with the Lakers over the past few games and the way they've been playing and the mistakes that they've been making, that me as a Lakers fan, I've stopped watching the games because I'm just not really that interested. I don't watch all the games, and even if I do tune in, like I tuned into the Grizzlies game where the Lakers won, but I didn't watch the full game at all. And if a viewer like me who does nothing more than wanting to watch every single game, if that's happening to me, I'm not sure what the casual NBA fan who just wants to learn about the game is doing about, games just not being interesting. Okay, I have a personal agenda as to why I watch Lakers games. I want to watch good basketball being played by my team. But at the end of the day, it's about just watching what you like. Do you see what you like? I mean, sorry, are you interested in what you're seeing on the TV screen? Because on an average day, if there are say 5 NBA games, I at least try to watch 2 or 3.
Right. Same.
So if the Lakers are one of those games, my viewership automatically goes down to just 2 games instead of 3. And that is a very small sample space of how viewership can go down just because of your team not playing well. But that is in no way related to, having a face with the league or, you know, threes and dunks or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is there are multiple factors that contribute to viewership going down. So yeah, LeBron fans like me who strive to watch every single game because we never know when he's gonna hang it up. We lose interest. I mean, I lose interest. I'm not sure about the rest of us, but it's that's just a very small example.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, like people who still watch for the older generation, like us, right? Like we grown up watching these guys play. It's a weird departure because they're not on the top anymore, and right now it's more of I pick like I'd say I'm just gonna say three people randomly. It's Jokic, Luka, Giannis, and then maybe even Anthony Edwards because the NBA is marketing Anthony Edwards really aggressively. So it's kind of jarring to see these guys be on prime time and those guys, and it's like a sudden departure. So I understand why the viewership is lower from the older audience as well. They don't think that the newer generation is as good or like as talented or watchable as the old. So that's also a good factor, and it's also down to the NBA. Like I said, right, putting the good games on the back burner on League Pass, where it's not on TV. Like nobody's gonna tune in
Exactly what I was going
League
to say.
Pass and
Yeah.
gonna. Bro, I watch League Pass because I'm a real like I watch. I paid for that. I watch a lot of NBA games, but to the casual viewer who can't just turn on their TV or like some kind of subscription service and just get it, it's not going to be a great option, right? So
So
it's just
I feel it's too pricey. It's
yeah.
just too pricey for an average fan trying to watch any random game per
The
night.
games are even more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So.
that ties into the stars also, not
Mhm.
being as good. So we want to talk about LeBron James and this really, really up and down season for the Lakers. Because I think
Yeah. So right when the season started, we saw that the Lakers had established AD as the primary go-to guy on the team, and with this being LeBron's 22nd season, he obviously has to be more of a facilitator than an aggressor. And that's pretty obvious. It gives AD more touches, it gives him more opportunities to be more involved in all the plays and just establish himself as one of the best two-way players in the league. When the Lakers had a good start, he was a top five in the MVP race, but now, obviously, with them losing a lot, he's slipped in the rankings. But even when LeBron has been the facilitator, like the 2020 season, he was a person who could score when he wanted to. I would say his shooting numbers have been very off this season, and I listened to Draymond Green
Okay.
podcast um, episode where he mentioned that LeBron could just be tired because he didn't exactly have an off season. He had to play in Paris this summer, and that's I mean when you're in 22nd season, you expect to have a lot of rest, and when you've been playing at such a high level over the summer, it's natural for your body to kind of be bogged down, especially with so much mileage. But I mean, age has to catch up at some point of time, at least for the athleticism.
Right.
So I would definitely say that it's very natural. It's not like I didn't see this coming. It's not unnatural to me, but I feel like it's up to the Lakers now as to how they work around this version of LeBron, how they place optimum pieces around him, because his passing is still the same. It's
Yeah.
his shooting and scoring ability that I would say has definitely diminished even compared to last season. So
And
yeah.
defense. And defense. That's the biggest thing that I think I noticed in the games. Like against the Hawks, right? Like I couldn't watch the first two quarters. I started watching from the third quarter, and the biggest difference I saw from the third quarter and fourth quarter, especially with LeBron, was his defense went dropped straight out of a hill. Like a lot of the times, it was lazy passes, lazy deflections, and I don't know, like really bad shot selection also. Like I think he took multiple deep threes in overtime just because I don't know, like there was no set play or what. Like I don't think JJ Redick wants to run that stuff, right? So
Mhm. Yeah.
it's just perplexing to me how a guy like LeBron, who has probably the biggest knowledge on what other teams run and the highest IQ on it, of anybody on the floor, other than maybe like the best player in the world right now, Jokic or maybe Giannis or someone like that. It's just weird to me, right? Like you expect him to know what to do, but like you said, right? Like it's a new coach, it's a new system, and AD is also having growing pains with like adjusting to the system, and like he's dealing with I think uh, plantar fasciitis in his leg, so he's also coming back from injury. So the Lakers as a whole, again, we talk about them every season, but the only issue I see right now is their schemes are really good. Like I like how Reddick is coaching this team, and I like what I'm seeing so far. But is this version of LeBron going to be what it takes to win in the regular season, or should they just let him coast, maybe play one in every three games, and then keep them alive for the playoffs? Because, like you said, he hasn't been having rest. And what is their ceiling if they do that? Can they actually make another finals? Because what
See,
is
their
LeBron?
bench is yeah. See, the Lakers have a very bad bench. Their bench production is very um, it's not even mediocre. It's just bad.
Yeah.
And even if Jared Vanderbilt and Christian would come back from their injuries, I'm not sure how effective they can be. Can they be their old selves? If yes, how do they fit into this offense? It's all a big question mark. And if we are to have this version of LeBron for the regular season, the Lakers, I'm guessing, are trying to secure a good seed, at least in the top four, top five, to avoid any play-in tournaments or having to face any top teams in the very first round. So, if that is the case, I think there are some roster changes that need to be made to upgrade the bench and just improve overall team chemistry. Because on the defensive end, communication is very important, and without that, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, Lakers as a whole defensively have been terrible. Like the Heat
Yeah,
righted them by 41, especially right. Like that game was just I don't even know what I was watching. It felt like a high school
yeah.
team playing an NBA team. So from a team as well, I don't know. AD and LeBron have championship experience. You just
Hmm.
shouldn't. It's just not the way to go. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's I even I hope it's not going to be Father Time because LeBron's last season should not be like he said. He said a year or two more. So I hope he can make a deep run and give us a glimpse of what he can do at his best.
So when you look back at the defensive side of things, we know that the Lakers not really up there. But what about teams like the Houston Rockets or even the Orlando Magic? For example, the Magic got really good defensive guard in KCP, and they are known to be a solid defensive team, and their record is proof of that. Without their star player, they've been pretty solid in the East as well. So, how far can a good defense take you, irrespective of whether your key player is there or not, in today's NBA, without proper game management, proper player management? Does it all just depend on the coaching, or what do you think it depends on?
I I have to say that good defensive coaching is finally making a comeback, and I'm glad it is because, like we discussed, right? Like you have to find out a way to guard the three more efficiently. You have to find a way to give up the exact shot that you want, even through the regular season now, because we saw the Celtics, right? I think they had the most 50-point blowouts, I think, something like that, and they had the most 25 plus point wins in NBA history in a single season, something like that. And the thing is about the Celtics, they shoot the most threes and they make the most threes. They have bench guys who make a ton of threes and everything like that. So I'm glad that teams like the Rockets and Magic are finding out really good defensive personnel and keeping them in the game, even if they can't shoot threes or can't, they don't have the same talent as a 3D like wing. Some like they keep Armin Thompson, they keep Dylan Brooks, they keep like Tari Eason. See, Tari Eason and Armin Thompson are not good shooters, but they are elite on the ball. Like Tari Eason is like DPOY levels of elite, and it's good that they have that because their bench comes in and they get shut down like, completely. That's what happened in all the major Rockets games also. And for the Magic, they have Jalen Suggs, a great, really good on-ball defender. They have, when healthy, Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner. Wagner took the leap on offense. And that, I think, is the bigger thing for me to say, is that if a team has a really good defense, their Achilles heel will be who is that one guy who we need for the offense. I don't know how to explain it, but like for the Rockets, it's ironically Fred VanVleet. He's been having a really bad season, but he's the anchor on the offense. Like he knows what to do when things get hard. He knows what to do. Like Shengun and Jalen Green, they still have a lot to grow, especially Green. Shengun has been really good, but yeah, for the Magic, it's definitely Franz Wagner because Suggs can get cold. Um, now that Paulo is also not there, it's not really good for them, right? So yeah, that's what I think. So these teams that play really good defense are good for the NBA because they've shown us that you can have a proper winning streak and you can maintain it also, and you don't actually just need to chuck threes to win. Because I think the Rockets have one of the lowest 3-point percentages and 3-point attempts in the league. So that's
Yeah.
really good.
Tell me that 5 years ago and I'd laugh in your face.
Yeah, yeah, quite literally, yes. And Orlando, they've been shrunk down, so you can't look at their recent games. But
Yeah.
the Wagner brothers, especially, have been to give all credit for it because they've been playing really good. And Jonathan Isaac has also been good. And who else? Gary Harris has been fine. Can't really think of. They've been playing like Tristan De Silva. They've been playing Bitaze at center and everything. They're just a really well coached defensive team. You can't say, okay, other than Wagner, I don't know who's going to go off. They have a really good, well rounded offensive profile. And when that doesn't go right, they lose. That's what I'm saying. I think that defensive ceiling has to be appreciated in today's NBA because they can end up beating those Celtics. They can end up beating the Bucks. They can try to beat these teams. But if you try to have like an above average offense with a bad defense, you're not going to get far in the regular season or in the playoffs. Even the Hawks, for the matter, this season. Dyson Daniels, brilliant. Jalen Johnson, brilliant. And of course, Risache and Capella are decent as well. So they have like an
Hmm.
all-round defense. They rely on Trey to create a lot. And Jalen Johnson has also kind of taken the lead. So it's good. That's what I'm saying. I think defensive ceilings have to be respected more than even offensive ceilings because they can keep the game close enough for your best player to actually take that step, and you hope that the other team misses their threes. So this
Yeah.
might be the next revolution in the NBA. Figure out a way to minimize the opponent's, 3-point rate, not percentage, and hope that your game plan wins.
Mm. So a TLDR is basically to make it as hard as possible for them to shoot quality looks that they would like to shoot and do your thing on the offensive end.
Yeah, do you think might be hard because I mean even in that cup game the Rockets played the Warriors, right? Like it was just weird. Like a lot of the times the Warriors could just clamp up on a lot of these players who don't have like a bag. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
you said, right, like the OKC Thunder are a really good 3-point shooting team. And you saw how the Bucks shut them down today in the NBA Cup final.
Historically,
Yeah,
all teams, all NBA champions have been really good defensive teams.
yeah,
So that should say more than anything else about defense.
right.
So those were just a few topics that we wanted to discuss on this new edition of NBA Reels. We will be back with a lot more topics that we have in mind. And till then, stay tuned and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.